So after a couple days, I started this on Monday. It is now Wednesday. Come to find out, Tuesday we had a tornado watch as well as some type of monsoon and a rainstorm. Blew the cover off, and all the prep that I did to the metal is, as you can see, surface rust. So over here, going to, try to give it another go and try to wire wheel it up and be ready for, I guess, tomorrow to seal it up and with some primer and whatnot, because I can't go through this again. I'm telling you, the thing was mint. Don't need all the services. All right, so this is about, I want to say probably close to between 6 to 8 hours worth of progress. I spent about, let's see, today's Friday. I think Wednesday, I spent about like 2 hours getting this left side done, just about. So I have the wheel well just about done on this side. I just have to get this frame section over here through the rest of the front radiator support and then the nooks and crannies in between, but obviously the big wire wheel can't really fit, so I have to use a smaller one. Just try to get as much rust out and put rust converter on it as much as possible, but mainly the strut towers and the frame sections are virtually ready for stitch welding, so that's going to be good. And there's going to be some other areas I'm going to stitch weld too, as far as like under here, definitely the sides over here, as well as I'm going to get a nice fender brace. So it's probably going to be a very stiff chassis, but I love the feeling of a stiff chassis. So I think I'm going to like this, and it will give me just about like a runaround of what I want to do for the S13. So that way I just know, like, okay, if I want to, if this is too much stitch welding, I'll probably just like, all right, you know what, I'll just leave it to the bracing on that car and, whatever here. But still some fine tuning to do. So I just feel like it's enough for me to at least clean it up with acetone when I'm done getting all the surface rust out. And then that way I can start priming it. So I'm hoping, probably going to primer. It's going to be good weather this weekend, so I'm probably going to put primer Sunday and then probably start welding, hopefully tonight. So get that situated. All right, so I did a little bit of practicing on the passenger side, and I think I got my welding settings correct. This is like my second time welding ever. I practiced on the Eclipse, and yeah, it was pretty ugly. So did have a few minor mishaps. I feel like I should have cleaned certain areas a little bit better, but I feel like I'm getting it down packed. I think it's just playing with the wire speed from now, but I also checked real quick online to see what's like the best method. Some people said, like, you do a couple stitches and then about like an inch apart. Some people are like the tack method. I'm going with the tack method only because that's what I'm comfortable with. If I develop some more skills down the line, I will do the stitch welding on, well, the 1-inch stitch welding on the S13. But for now, I'm just gonna go with the tack method. And yeah. But yeah, so this is basically what it is. Fortunately, couldn't really get into the nooks and crannies on the firewall. Didn't really have anything to reach there and clean the seam seal off. I feel like some people say you can burn it, but I still have some wiring and some stuff in the car. And I feel like by the time, if something happened where something in the car gets on fire, I probably wouldn't know till it's the last minute. So with that being said, I just didn't get these little nooks and crannies over here. Just gonna leave that be. And I figured the fender bracing and the strut tower was gonna be more than enough. So that I just left that area. So now I'm just gonna take a Brillo pad, well not Brillo pad, Scotch Brite, and just scuff everything up, clean it up with acetone, and then lay the epoxy primer. And at that point, the engine bay is just about done. Then I have to put some seam sealer. And after that, then I will reach out and see if I can get the engine bay wrap liner color that I want. And then engine bay shall be pretty much done. In the future, I do have to make some provisions. Mostly going to be some bulkhead fittings for my battery setup. I do have some rad lock cables connections that I want to put. I just don't know where I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to use existing holes that aren't used anymore. So, but you know, if I do have to make a new hole, it's no biggie. It's mostly going to be covered. But you know, it's not the end of the world. So get that situated and let's get to it. Okay, so here I am with the epoxy primer roll-on from Eastwood on, and it just doesn't seem right. Does not seem right. So I apply this the right amount. You know, it said a 1-to-1 ratio. I mixed it for like 3 minutes. I was playing a song and I was like, I'm just gonna mix it to this song. It was about like 3 minutes and some change. And it still came out liquidy. So I thought maybe when I roll it onto the vehicle that it would somehow maybe turn gray and whatnot. But honestly, does not look right at all. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna let this cure. I'm going away for a couple of days out the country. So I feel like at least this might be enough protection against rust in general while I'm out, which I'm hoping it is. But if not, what I'm just gonna do is put stripping gel over this and then once again do this whole process again. Pretty annoyed, but you know, you live and you learn. I should have just went with the 2K spray can. I'm actually not totally sure why I didn't do that, but yeah.